Hi everyone, this is Suzanne from sunstampin.com, and today I have a fantastically fun and cheerful box to share with you today. I thought that since I like baking and cooking, I thought that I would make a little, oops, there's a little thing there. Make a box big enough to put maybe 6 cookies in. So I love the stamp from Something to Say, which is a new stamp set that you'll find in the new catalog. And as you can see, it says seize the cake, but there was not seize the cookie. So I thought I would cross it out and just put cookies in there, which, I mean, if you had a piece of cake, you probably could put it in here, but I thought this would be really sweet to give to someone with some cookies inside, or squares, or food stuffs. Obviously, if I'm going to be using butter or shortening, I will have to put a little bag in there so that it doesn't get all greasy. And this concept came when I was thinking about making cookies, and I have one recipe that uses shortening, pure lard. I don't use this very often, and as you can see, it's completely full, but when I took a look at the box, I'm like, that is a perfect size to maybe put, 6 or 8 cookies in there, good size. So that's where I came up with this idea for this box. So the last video I did, I jibber-jabbed too much, so I'm going to really try hard to make this go quickly for you. And I hope I have all the dimensions correctly. I made this box yesterday, so hopefully I have remembered everything correctly. So you need a piece of cardstock with 11 by 10.5, so correct sizing there at least. So with the long side, the 11-inch side on the top, I'm going to score at 1 inch, 3.5, 6, and 8.5. And then on the short side, or the 10.5-inch side, I'm going to score at 2.5, and again at 8. That's all for the scoring tool. So we're going to burnish, fold and burnish the edges. And I have a special treat. I will be using some of the DSP, or Designer Series paper, from the Moonlight Designer Series pack, which is the new pack of papers. In Canada, it costs $8.50. So I've picked apart quite a bit of it. I really love that one. So yeah, there's some really neat designs and some neat papers. Obviously, when I do my boxes and such, you don't necessarily have to use the papers that I use. So I'm just looking at my notes here, making sure that my cutting is correct. So I'm just cutting up to the score line. This guy gets removed because this is our lid. And then cutting up on all the score lines. I don't necessarily know when I'm going to be making these said cookies. However, it is, because it's starting to get warm out here in Kelowna, BC, Canada. And I don't necessarily like my oven on when it gets quite warm out. So these little guys here, they're just going to be the side flaps. I'm going to wedge in just a smidgen so that the box has a greater chance of closing easily. And basically when you wedge in, you're just taking just the slightest bit of that score line off. And I will do so on the lid as well. Oh, that other voice is my neighbor. You can probably hear her on the telephone. All right, so the box itself is going to fold like that. It's an easy build. And today, oops, making a mess of my desk here. So I want this in a particular way. So I want the front to wrap around and the back to wrap in. So these guys are going to be the inside. So and there we go. I ran out of sticky strip today when I was doing my other videos, so. And as always, I'm going to use my work surface as a flat top and as a tool. I don't necessarily like the idea of holding it up and trying to manipulate it. I don't know if I'm going to be even or not, so use the tools that you have on hand. There we go. So box made. I'm going to use my little corner rounder. Oops. So this color I'm using So Saffron. I would have liked to have used the new yellow called Hello Honey, but I just haven't gotten the 12 by 12 sheets yet. So I was able to pre-purchase a few items. Being a demonstrator for Stampin' Up, they do give us that, and that's great. Love them for that. Okay, leaving those flaps out just because I want to place my DSP. So how cute is that, hey? Love it. The DSP, you need 3 pieces at 5.5 by 2 1/4. And you only need, and for these guys, the smaller ones, 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So this is a sizable box. I made another one that was quite large as well. Trying to expand a box as large as possible. So this is my small oval punch. Hopefully I'm eyeballing it. Oh, I'm a little off, but whatever. Just helps people, they don't care necessarily where their finger hold goes. They just want to be able to get inside and get to those cookies. Okay, so that's the box made. What else? Oh, so I want to decorate. I have the Seize the Cake stamp from Something to Say. And I'm going to, should I use the honey one or should I use Blackberry Bliss? I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss because it's dark. It's quite dark. I've been crafting all day, so I'm not thinking clearly. There we go. And one of my favorite punches, the decorative label punch. There we go. And with my sponge, I will sponge the edges. There's no rhyme or reason why I sponge things, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I definitely like the distressed look in general, and usually if it's white on white, I want something to stand out, so hence the reason why I've done that. Okay. Now, these are the fantastic pens that come with Project Life, and I think this is the thicker one. So I'm just going to cross that out again and say cookies with an exclamation point. If you have something that says Seize the Cookies, that would be totally appropriate. I have a really good recipe for lemon cookies that are so delicious. You'll find it on my other blog. Called Crafty Canadian, no, what is my other blog called? I feature Sunday dinners on it. Creative, Crafty, and Canadian. So I thought what I would do is put 2 there, maybe 1 there. So you see me do, you know, in other videos, I've done these little lotus flowers. So cute. They add dimension and punch to a project. And I'm going to show you how to do it with my Petite Petals punch. I've already done 2, so they do take a bit of time, so hence the reason why I'm doing only 1 and putting 1 together so that you can see how it's done. I did it as well in another video. I think it was the mini glue dot. So I have a Bic pen, and usually I would use the back of my piercing tool to push in to get that 3D effect. But because it's got a roundness here, I want that little roundness so that I can take my wee paper snips, and I'm going to cut right up the petal to that little circle. And so it's important, you don't want to cut all the way through, you just want to cut to the little circle that that pen made. Works for me. And this, you probably recognize that tool from previous videos before I had my paper piercer. So this is just a jewelry tool, has a little file on it. I've used that for a paper piercer for a while now, until I got my fancy Stampin' Up one. I like the Stampin' Up one better, but just because this is a long file and I'm sort of able to manipulate this paper with it. So that being said, I'm first of all going to put one of the flowers, I'll try to do this on camera so you can see, just a dimensional on the back. And then I'm going to place a glue dot flat on that one. Then I'm going to take my second flower and I'm offsetting it as best I can, pushing in. So you could probably build these up like crazy, but I use kind of 3. So, and then I'm making a little ball with the glue dot and placing that in the center. And then my last one, off center or staggered or whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to show you a little trick that I'm using with my my Blendabilities from Stampin' Up. It's the new alcohol marker. Whoops, look at that little guy, like to sneak all the way off. So the alcohol marker allows me to color the rhinestone whatever color I wanted, and I was using rich raspberry there. And once it's dry, which doesn't take very long at all, we've got, whoops, a purple center of the flower, if it works for me. Sometimes having nails, I gotta tell my nail girl Sherry, sometimes it's detrimental to my crafting experience. Okay, so mumble, mumble, mumble. So, taking off that dimensional there, and one's there, one's there. It adds just, I mean, a little fun, don't you think? I hope you try it at home if you have the Petite Petals punch. And one of my girlfriends, Amy, who sometimes, I don't know if she watches all of the videos, but she has mentioned she has seen a few, had to wait a very long time because for her Petite Petals punch, because it was on back order. So, Amy, I hope you try this. You're gonna love it. So I was going to do, I did a ribbon on here, and there was no reason for it other than it was a Coastal Cabana and it looked pretty, but I've chosen to decorate it like that. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you need, obviously I will put all the dimensions on my blog, which is sunstampin.com, 2 N's with the sun. And in case you were ever curious, the reason why I called it Sun Stampin' is because it's just my initials. My name is Suzanne, and I shorten it to Sue, S-U, and my middle name is Nancy, and my last name is Netz. So it's Sun Stampin', just in case you were curious. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.